Hello, happy new year. Happy new moon in Capricorn. It's 2022, and I always find it so exciting when there's a new moon at the very beginning of the new year. It just makes everything seem so much more, oh, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Possible. There's so many possibilities that we have for 2022. I have written down a whole bunch of stuff, so we're going to go through it as quickly as possible. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you're thinking about the intention that you're going to set for the things that you want to dream about this year. It's going to be about changing our dreams, letting go of the old dreams, realizing that there are lots of possibilities, regardless of your age, regardless of what we've gone through, what the situation was that we left 2021 in. We have tons of possibilities. So this is for your making. So happy new year. It's time to get serious about our dreams, right? Capricorn is all about work and kind of, the leader, being a leader, being kind of the CEO or the executive, if you will. So think about doing that for your whole life. What can you do? How can you lead yourself out of where you were in 2021, those parts of 2021 you want to leave behind and move forward? So we're going to go back to this first part later on, but I really think that the biggest thing that's going on in 2022 is that Jupiter is moved from Aquarius, and it's moving in, and it will be conjunct Pisces and conjunct Neptune in Pisces. So the last time this happened, Jupiter's on a 12-year cycle, and Neptune is on 165, I believe. So Neptune's on 165-year cycle. So this is a rarity that this happens. But Jupiter is in Pisces every 12 years. So the last time Jupiter was in Pisces was in 2009. So, if we think about it, Jupiter is kind of the original ruler of Pisces. They're both rulers. Neptune came along and kind of nudged Jupiter out of the story. But the truth of the matter is that Jupiter is also a big player with Pisces, and they're very loving toward one another. They work together quite well. And, Jupiter is rather religious and can be kind of dogmatic, but also very optimistic and expansive and boundless with whatever energy we're wanting to choose. So think about that for 2022. And in addition to that, we've got it in Pisces being the last sign in the zodiac. So there's some energy there. It's like, what are we going to do with this 12-year cycle? Well, it's kind of like a rebirth almost, because it's coming up to the first, next year it'll be in Aries, which will be the first sign of the zodiac. So what's going to die away? What's going to be rebirthed here? So there's with Jupiter being that archetypal planet, and Neptune also being an archetype, we've got some serious, really spiritual and kind of heavy things to consider as well. We kind of dream a lot when we think about with Neptune. We can be deceived. So there's that side of it too. We're going to talk a little bit further about this, but the bottom line is Jupiter has boundless energy. Neptune doesn't have so much energy necessarily, more inward, more inside. So these two together should really create something awesome. It's time for us to really dig deep and pay attention to what we're saying to ourselves and what we're dreaming about. If we're spending our days daydreaming about something that's negative, then that is obviously going to be expanded on with regard to where Jupiter is. So those Piscean things like magic and mystic and dreams and confinement and addiction and, those types of things, deceit, illusions, delusions, those issues are all going to be bigger, right? But we have this favor of two planets working together that are really so beautiful and spiritual. And, I always called Neptune the planet of faith. So I think that, this is really an opportunity that we set ourselves up for major spiritual awakening, not only for us personally, but more for the planet, the globe. So be careful what you think, because if you're thinking negatively, that's going to be expounded upon. If you're thinking positively, then those dreams will just get better and bigger. Jupiter will help you with that. Okay, so think about that future dreams. We're going to get back to this in a little bit. I'm going to give you some dates on that. So, when talking about dreams, we can be inspired to dream by art or by another person, or, our dreams can be inspired, but it is really up to us to make sure that they get manifested. It's up to us to use our imagination to make those dreams come to fruition. How can we make this happen? And really not only our imagination, but also how can we make our dreams happen in real time, in real life? So think about that. And Capricorn is always wanting to be the realist, always wanting you to work at your dreams. So this new moon, think about how you can practically work at those new dreams. All right. Sometimes Pisces, in particular, doesn't like looking at reality. That Piscean energy just doesn't like that. And it's okay to kind of, look away for a while. If we come up on a train wreck, some people are drawn to look and some people hate to look at it. The bottom line is you've got to be realistic with your dreams if they're going to come true, and you got to put in the work. You can't just dream it and it's going to happen. You have to take action. You have to put that energy behind it. So, I really feel like we're going to have, this is going to be really big water. Thinking about Jupiter being so big and expansive, and Neptune being such and Pisces being such water, and Neptune, rules all things water, all things liquid. So if it's liquid, or you can take it into, like emotions, even being watery emotions. Basically, if you don't know how to swim here, you need to get some floating devices, because you can take that either literally or figuratively. I would really, just example, yesterday, it was 69 degrees in Aurora, Texas. And this morning when we woke up, it was 16 degrees. Now, we had the Snowmageddon last year where Texas, the power grid went down. And so now we're super, super, super nervous about, all that. And we're okay. But pipes bursting, leaky faucets. Obviously, we're having biblical weather changes here. So that could play into some floods with this. Just think about water getting out of bounds, going where it doesn't normally go. Sometimes where it shouldn't be. Think about that. Also, I would say, think about your emotions, right? Water is emotions. The water in your chart. If you have a lot of water in your chart, likely you're going to be really affected by this. It's okay to be emotional. Just know that that's an opportunity for you to grow spiritually, because that's an opportunity to use those emotions to grow, to dig deep, to nurture yourself, and just know it's a good possibility. It's okay to be emotional. All right. I think I don't know if you know this or not. I don't know if I've even told anybody on a live, but we finally sold our farm here and in Aurora. And it's been on the market for like 3 or 4 years because we really weren't sure we wanted to sell it. We decided that we just kind of wanted to hold out. And if somebody was willing to pay the price, then we'd be willing to sell it at that price. Well, it happened. And thank you. We're very grateful. But with that comes this anxiety of moving and change and all of those things. It's also opportunity to change. So how am I going to look at it? How is my husband going to look at it? Is he going to look at it from that negative side? Or is he going to look at it from the positive of a new adventure, says Jupiter. Jupiter loves adventure. So that's just one example. On Christmas Eve, you got to think about what happened Christmas Eve. We had the last of the Saturn-Uranus squares, and Venus had moved into retrograde, right? And it'll be in retrograde until the end of, I think it's like the 28th of January. So when we're, thinking about what is of value to us, what are we attracted to? What are we not attracted to? What is attracted to us? And so on and so forth. Relationships, obviously, money, love money. So Venus being in retrograde, we were kind of having a loud discussion about how he, saves everything and he's sentimental about everything. And not only is he sentimental about everything, he also loves to have about 4 of the same kind of tools. And don't ask me why. Sometimes 8 of the same kind of tools. It doesn't really matter, but they're never organized. And he carries these around, and tools are heavy, and we're getting older, and we don't need to be lifting all these heavy tools. Let's just do, say, 2 or 3 of the same kind. We can do that, Anyway, so we're having this loud discussion about how we can't save everything. We want to scale down. We want to travel. And so, and then as I went to the next box, I just wasn't even going to talk to him. And as I went to the next box, reality hit me in the face because I came to all of my things from that I have carted around, I know, to at least 7 different places. Maybe more, from 1989, 1990, when I was in Los Angeles and I recorded my album. Some of it was from 87, 88, lots of memorabilia and my old master tapes. And these things are 24-track tapes. So they are like this heavy. They're, this wide. They're, in a 12 by 12 box. And I have 3 of them duct taped together. Now, I'm never going to have the equipment to listen to those again. They're never going to get remastered. I have other scores and scores and scores of reels to reels. I have all this memorabilia, and I'm like, I cannot, I've got to set an example here. And what am I going to do with this? I'm tired of moving it around. But that was the first dream that I had from the time of 15 to 30, 2, where I really, I realized my dream. It might not have happened to played out exactly the way I wanted to, but I was a professional actress and a recording artist. And so with that, even though I left that dream, or I thought I'd left that dream behind, I hadn't completely, right? I was lugging around that old baggage. So I cried a little bit and I chunked them in the roll-off dumpster that we rented. And I'm really glad that I'm not going to have to look at those anymore. Finally, I'm not going to look at those anymore and think, oh, I'd really like to hear that. I don't want to it's fine. I'm good. And so that's what I'm talking about. I've got other dreams to go for now. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you? I just feel lighter. I also threw away my Garland High School Owls 1979 cap and gown. Really, did I really need that? Did I really need to look at that? Go Fighting Owls. I'm still an owl. Will forever be. Anyway, I've got more room for different dreams. What luck. Okay, so let's talk about something else. The lunar nodes are going to be, this is also kind of a value thing. And I think that this is part of it too. The lunar nodes have shifted, or in that process and of shifting from into Taurus and Scorpio. So this is a real, the lunar nodes really play a large part in our evolution, the way we evolve as, in this lifetime, but also the way our culture evolves. So it's Taurus and Scorpio are really asking us to, what is of value? What are we valuing? And that's morals, monetary. Do we, and agriculture, think about Taurus, Taurus is, Buddha, the earth, right? So, we think about that, we kind of, and of course, Scorpio is always wanting us to peel back and shed the skin so we can rebirth. Scorpio wants to unearth stuff, the secrets. Well, Scorpio doesn't really, Scorpio wants to keep it, but it loves transformation. So think about really how you can be the best you can be with what matters to you, not, material matter, Taurus. And then also think about what needs to be exposed, where you can be honest to get bigger, to get more out of this. Okay. So let yourself be honest with others and be honest with yourself, So we've still got Taurus, Uranus in Taurus. So old structures are still coming down, and it's going to continue to come down. But the good thing is that new ones are coming up, and that's going to continue for a while. If we just think about, Uranus rules Aquarius, and, so it's got that real futuristic thing. Think about how much happened last year just in space. I mean, my God, did we think that we would see really, practically, did we really think we would see civilians going up, or really and truly, did we think we'd see William Shatner go up to space in our lifetime? I know I didn't. But it's just goes to show you that anything is possible. This erratic weather change has a lot to do with this. And also the innovation of what we're going to do about it will also have a lot to do with this. This had to happen. And if you look back to the Dust Bowl, that's what was going on then, Uranus and Taurus. So look up the Dust Bowl for anybody that's interested in weather and, what's going on with Mother Earth. I think that it bodes some interest there. I think it also at that time, and some of you may have heard me say this, at that time, Uranus, when Uranus was in Taurus, that was when they first learned how to seed clouds. So I don't know, think about that. All right. In 2020, I did a workshop called Renaissance and Reconstruction, or maybe it was Reconstruction and Renaissance. But I think we're still in a bit of both. We're still reconstructing, but we're moving into that Renaissance period. That thing, that area where there's this opulence. And if we can just, and this new, what's new is good. Well, think about all of the innovations that are coming on right now. That is the Renaissance. Um, you know, I must also say with that, there are there's a lot of evil out there and misguided folks, and they're starting to be, they're starting to have to pay the piper. And, and I would just say, even if you just look at the, um, you know, Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, or something like that. Um, that's kind of what I'm talking about, but it's happening everywhere. I mean, I know some people in my own personal life, and I'm like, well, man, you're just kind of getting what's coming to you. And luckily, I don't know too many of those people, but yeah. So, what else did I want to tell you? There's so much work to do. We really have to focus on peace and love, and it's really never been any more important than it is right now. And I know that we hear that all the time, and it's almost like we're kind of getting numb to it, because we're also tired and burnt out from everything that's been going on, and we've heard it for so long, and it seems like it's unobtainable, but it is obtainable. It really, truly, truly is. And yeah. So 2022 is a time to get really clear on what's valuable to you, and to those that we are leaving, like, do I really want my kids to have to go through, my cap and gown, and then have to, oh, well, she kept it all these years, I guess we should keep it. No, they're not going to care about our cap and gown. So why not chunk it and let them not have to deal with it? Also, do we want to leave a planet in this kind of condition for our children, our grandchildren, in generations to come? That's an obvious, do we want to leave behind? Do we want to leave behind all this anger? No. I'm sorry, you guys. I know we're boomers. I feel for you, but we'll get a hold of it. We can do it. We can do it, boomers. We can. Also, it's a time for you to, or for us all to ask ourselves, what's going to nurture us this year? Because we need a little kindness, a little love on ourselves. We're still kind of beat up from the past couple of years. And, I'm not saying that this coming year is going to be great, but I'm going to give you some reason to think about that here in a minute. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that Jupiter Pisces. Something your connection with higher self is really what your higher self, God, whatever you want to call, whatever you use, what's familiar to you. Your connection with that is going to be really the most important thing. So let's talk a bit more about what I do believe is probably going to be the most important. Okay, let me also say, we are in the throes of Pluto, America's Pluto return. And this is not going to be over until, I think, 2025. So, we're going to continue to see the fallout from that until maybe, or even beyond. What started now, this is big stuff, folks. So this isn't going to just go away, but we are rebirthing our nation here, and it's having some major pains, labor pains here. So that's not going to end right away. I would like to say it is, but it's not. But I do think it's going to resolve itself by the time we get through our thing. And I do think that, and I'm talking about folks here in the US, I do believe that not only are we looking at us like this, but other countries are looking to see what their relationships are going to be with us in this, and how they're redefining and rebirthing their relationships with us. So hopefully, let's just set the intention and say prayers for a positive outcome with diplomacy, and here with our own people, and tolerance. Okay, so December 28th, Jupiter kind of started separating, or has separated basically from this restriction that it has had with Saturn. It's been going on, that's been going on for quite some time. So now it's jetting ahead, and it's not going to be restricted. This is going to feel like all of a sudden we're coming out of the chutes. Now, I say that, but obviously we're still going to have things like, that are going to slow us down, like Venus in retrograde, Mercury in retrograde. Mercury goes in retrograde 4 times this year, and the first 3 times it'll be all in air signs. So when you think about that, you want to know that the first one is going to start on January 14th. And we know all about Mercury retrogrades. I'm not going to beat that dead horse. Just know that it's coming up, and it's going to be in air signs for the first 3. And I don't think I said that. Maybe I said it at the top, but back to Jupiter. Jupiter and Saturn have actually pulled apart, and they have moved on. So if you didn't feel that lovey-dovey big Jupiter expansiveness for some reason this past year, but when it was in Aquarius, you're probably going to feel it more so in next year when Jupiter is in Pisces, because it's at home and it's going to be untouchable, and it's going to work with Neptune, be it good or be it bad. We have to kind of be realistic, and it's hard sometimes for that. So December 28th, it started that. And then the last time Jupiter was in Pisces was actually 2009. And that was when Barack Obama was inaugurated, right? So think about, maybe not for everybody. Some people looked at it and went, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. But it still gave everybody across the board this feeling that anything is possible, right? So Neptune wasn't in there. So we've got something really rare going on. Okay, before that, the last time Jupiter was in Pisces was in 1998, 99. For me personally, that was, Rick and I had just gotten married in 2009. For me personally, in 1998, 99, I had just gotten a fabulous position, and which I stayed in, was, really a high point in my career. And then the time before that was 86 and 87. And that's really when I had really gotten off my, like I had really gotten my acting and singing career under my feet, and, was really getting noticed. So these have really been good times for me. So I'm pretty excited about it. But we have not had Neptune and Jupiter conjunct, meaning together, in many, 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 many years. So Neptune was discovered in 1846, I believe. and it takes 165 years to orbit. So it was discovered in 1846, and then it went to Pisces in 1856. So if you want to look, if you want to do some history, I know we've got some history buffs out there. Look up that year, see what happened in 1856, and then the time before that, it was February of 1690. So those are two dates that you can look up to see what happened, and see if you can draw some parallels. Email me at sally@activatedastrology.com. I would love to hear what you find if you do any of that research, or put it down below in the comments. So you can see how rare this Jupiter Neptune conjunct Pisces in Pisces is. Both of them are so spiritual, and I would say that Jupiter's even evangelical, and obviously Pisces is magical and mystic, and it's said that Christ was a Pisces, the fisher of men. He was obviously supernatural, right? So this is a prime, you really being primed for a spiritual awakening, not only for you, but for the collective. It's an incredibly intuitive time, and you may find that everybody's got a little bit of a psychic ability in you, just heightened intuition. This is global. This is not just for you, but it is going to show up somewhere in your chart. So where Pisces is in your chart, where Neptune is in your chart, where Jupiter is in your chart, how it's all affected is how it's going to show up for you, where your opportunities, and possibly where you want to kind of like back off a little bit, that's where it's going to show up. So look at your chart and do that, or call me. You can find the link down below. I will put it in the comments. And go ahead and book a session and find out, even with another astrologer. It's just super important that you get one every year. So I like to do it either at the beginning of this year or at the beginning of the astrology new year in April. And that will help you kind of set your intention for the whole year. It'll give you a roadmap. All right. So yeah, intuition. Okay. So for those of you who don't know that much about astrology, each sign is broken down into a decan. And so what's a decan? It's just kind of like a segment to help us break down the different signs, like how it's going to feel in different signs. So if a sign is 30 degrees, then in each sign has 3 decans, then we are looking at each one is 10 degrees. So we're looking at decan 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to give you some dates. Grab a piece of paper and a pen. This is a little bit more in depth, but I think it'll help. Okay, Jupiter in decan 1 is December 28th to February 12th. And with this, it is a kind of a spiritual evolution. Remember, I told you both of these planets are in Pisces, very spiritual. So, and again, I'm not saying just for you, I'm saying for all of us, for the collective, for the whole world. So you have to use this beautiful energy in the right way with the right intention. You have to focus on remember Pisces is dreamy, right? And you want to focus on the positive, the things that we can dream that really will set the frequency a little higher for this. Jupiter is the planet of luck. So this could mean a lot of personal luck in your life or in that house, where you have Pisces. I have it in the sixth house. So that's work. And I'm really hoping that this new house has better internet. So that's going to help me a lot. But also it's in the house of health. So I'm hoping that I can shed some pounds, stay healthier than I was last year. I was sicker on and off with COVID and different things, and just constantly catching everything that comes my way. My allergies were bad. I really am hoping that I can stay a little more healthy this year. And I hope it lasts for that 12-year cycle. Actually, I hope it lasts for a lot longer, but that's what I'm hoping. And that's what I'm leaning on. So Pisces gives us this feeling of personal protection. Also, that we're protected. We can go into our prayer state, our meditative state, and if whether you connect with angels or spirit guides, or you go directly to the source, or just your inner child, your inner self, your higher consciousness, whatever that is, nature, whatever it is for you, connect there and stay optimistic and stay faithful. I used to think that that Neptune was kind of mean and devious all the time, but it's really not. It has that little part to it, but really what it's asking us to do is to have faith that we can't touch everything. Neptune rules the things that we know are there, but we can't touch. The things that are not tangible, but are real for us. So remember to dream big, but to be realistic and use good judgment. You've got to use discernment at this time, because things can get big and out of hand all over the place. So there's a kind of a danger of that. So you want to stay grounded. Don't be too naive, I guess is what I'm saying. All right. So then the second decan is going to be February 3rd to March 26th. So this is Pisces 2. And it's really kind of the most artistic area, I think, of Pisces. And it comes with the kind of this, when you see a piece of art and you go, oh my gosh, that is breathtaking. Oh my gosh, to be an artist is just, for me, it's just the unbelievable, that unbelievable talent. It's just, it's glamorous, really, or maybe not glamorous, but there's something about it that's so it's mystical. And it's such a mystery to me. And I always want that. And I think it's very much a something that attracts me. But in addition to that, when you think about it, it can also, art can kind of be deceiving in some ways. It's not always a real piece of art. I mean, it may be a copy. It may be a knockoff. There may be a different meaning behind what the artist was saying, that, so think about, be careful that you are not you're not being deceived in some way. And that's pretty much in the whole Pisces thing anyway. It's kind of the trickster in a certain sense. So we want to kind of watch that. And remember that, Pisces likes to kind of hide and go within and go to bed, but we still have to do those practical things, take care of our family, get up, don't pull the covers over your head and stay too long. It's okay to take a rest, but, we have to remember that real stuff has to happen. Everything that Pisces is, you will feel bigger with this Jupiter presence. So our spirit selves are going to really expand. And that's a beautiful thing. So we want to focus on what our dream is for Mother Earth, what our dream is for these situations that are going on that, could harm us and many to come in the future. We want to really try to keep that in focus with love and kindness. It's kind of like you always hear Pisces are between two worlds. They have one foot in this world and one foot in this practical world and one foot in the dream world. This is like the quintessential energy for that. Okay, then Decan 3 is going to be March 26th to May 11th. And then it goes into retrograde. So it will be kind of not back in that third decan until October 29th to December 21st. And then it goes off into Aries. So think about when, an energy is always the strongest when it enters a sign and when it exits a sign. It leaves us a gift or a push or a kick in the ass. Well, this is really what this is about. So during this part of the transit, we're, and also it's made even stronger because it's not only exiting Pisces, it is exiting that 12-year cycle of the zodiac and moving into a brand new start of the new astrological new year. So it's the last sign in the zodiac. It's leaving that cycle behind and starting anew. So this is where the most intense is going to be in this time. So we're looking at, sometime between probably the end of May. I'm not the end of May, the end of April, May, it might be pretty intense. And then also between, Thanksgiving and before Christmas, right in there. So this part of the transit is really about what did we get out of all this time with, Jupiter in this sign with Neptune. What did we get out of all this? And it's a time when, it's kind of like Judgment Day is here. And I do realize that I've talked a lot about religious things, and I know that probably makes some of you even tune me out. And that's okay. I understand if I'm not for everybody. But I do believe that this is kind of a, wow, are we going to see, what are we going to see that's going to literally, rattle our bones? What are we going to experience that's going to rattle us and or change us forever? So I think that that's what we're in for. And I'm not saying that it could be bad, but remember, this is also a time for big, big water. So lots of floods, flood of emotions. It's hard not to talk about religion or, and I do avoid it sometimes. I mean, I skirt around it. It's hard not to talk about it when when you're talking about Jupiter and Pisces, Jupiter and Neptune and Pisces. It's just pretty much impossible. You have to face it or you'd be lying. So, just know that anything is possible when Jupiter is in Pisces. So what does all this mean for you personally? If Jupiter brings luck and expansion, it's going to do that into the house when it transits that house. So look to see where the Pisces is in your chart. When Jupiter in Pisces, I guess I can say that, it is going to improve and grow wherever. But Jupiter in Pisces should bring even more because it's at home. So it can be super cool. Like, really, I mean, this could be a really good one for you. Just know your houses and what they represent. And you can learn a lot just by Googling. So if not, if you want someone else's, I always recommend that you get a good astrologer that you really like and that you can really relate to, and that won't talk over your head and give you a lot of stuff that you can't really understand, and really help you vet out what you need to know, not what they are pushing on you, but what you need to know. So feel free to call me, set up an appointment. But if you already have an astrologer, this would be a great time to see where those opportunities are lying. Do it now. Try to get on somebody's books. So if you missed out, like I said, on when Jupiter was in Aquarius, this is really a wonderful time for you to take advantage of all that stuff. Just giving you an example, I've got Neptune in the second house of earned income. I'm kind of hoping I'm going to get a little help there. I'm kind of hoping I'm going to, because Neptune in the second house can be kind of hard. It can be like, I think Madeline Gerwick told me Neptune in the second house means money slips through your fingers. And that is so true. And I've told other people that I read for, I give her credit, but that's very true. It has slipped through my fingers quite a bit, but money comes to me by faith. I always know that I'm going to have enough to get just what I need. I may not have an abundance, but I know I've got enough, and it just comes out of nowhere, just a check, a weird check that I wasn't expecting or whatever. I always know that I'm taken care of, even though it may fall through my fingers. So Neptune has been in Pisces since 2012. Remember all that stuff in 2012, the end of the Mayan calendar, all that. That's when Pisces went into. And many people think that was really the beginning of the age of Aquarius, but I'm not really sure. I mean, there's so many different theories on it. Some people think it was 1961 or 60, something like that. So I don't really know. I don't really question it. I kind of tend to believe that January of 2020 had something to do with it, because that was when the world kind of changed, right before our eyes very quickly. 2020, yeah, January 2020. So Neptune has been in Pisces since 2012, and it will stay there until 2025. There's a lot of suspicion that surrounds Neptune. It's always like kind of, we can't see it. We don't really know what it's doing. It's elusive. But and I guess it can kind of, I know I said that, I look at it as the planet of faith. So maybe it kind of disguises itself as, it's here and I'm the savior and, that kind of thing. But it can leave some stings. And that's, addiction and deceit. And, so if your Neptune is in a certain position, you might have a little bit of, with this, but I think right here, this is where, I think this is where you're going to get the good part out of it. I do. I'm praying that this is the way it's going to happen. I hope that I get to come back to you next year and say, I told you so. Jupiter, brings this luck and expansion. So wherever it's transiting, you're going to have more of that. So just realize that when these two powerful planets get together, anything is possible. Anything is possible. If you have Pisces in the second house, ooh, I think I would be playing the stock market. Just saying. I don't know. I'm not a business person, but a business astrologer. But I can tell you that be hopeful, dream, and ask source or your higher power or God, Christ, Mother Mary, Magdalene, all your spirit guides, ascended masters, whatever. Ask for the kindness. Ask for the ability to show kindness. Ask for the ability to show kindness the way we ask God, source, to show kindness to us in our lives. And I think that that's a wonderful intention for the entire year of 2022. If we come out kinder to one another by this time next year in 2023, my gosh, what will the world look like? Okay, so having said that, blessings and stars, I also wanted to mention that Marianne Golden and I are offering this incredible reading with her wonderful Soul Chi fractal art, which is just the bomb. I'm going to put it down in the comments. It's a frameable piece of work that is unique to only you. She uses sacred geometry and numerology and her intuitive channeling. And it is a beautiful, beautiful, I should have had it on here so you could see what mine is. But I use mine in meditation, and every time I look at it, I see something different. So there's a link to get to that. There's a link to book a session with me. And there's also a link to join the Ascension School of Spirituality newsletter. That's where we kind of keep you posted on what's going on. We don't send out a lot of newsletters. We're not going to spam you. So don't feel bad about that. But join the newsletter because we've got Reiki classes and astrology classes and all kinds of things, Oracle card classes, and we're about to start a course on psychic development. So there's always something going on with the school, and it's just a neat group of people, here to raise the vibe here on the planet. All right, so once again, blessings and stars. I hope you have a beautiful 2022.